First, Friends of Frank is an informal and multiracial coalition of parent volunteers led by Black women. We are here because, like you, we want healing, transparency, honesty, and fairness for everyone involved. To the student and her family, if you are listening, you matter to us and to Frank's family. We don't know who you are, but we want to let you know that what is happening right now is not your fault. The stakes of this conversation involve the adults and our local institutions. I repeat, the stakes of this conversation are about the adults and the choices that adults make. And it is there that we seek accountability. Let us be clear. Accusations of child endangerment are extraordinarily serious. We are concerned that our criminal legal system is being manipulated and abused in a way that could cost Frank his liberty, destroy a student's life, and harm these families forever. We need answers. Thank you.
Before I share what I have to share, I want to acknowledge that there is a young girl, a young person at the center of this who we have failed as a community. And that this young woman, I want to be really clear that fighting for justice for Frank does not in any way negate the pain that this young girl is experiencing. And so as we advocate for justice, we also need to hold her and her humanity in our care at this time. It gives me absolutely no personal pleasure to be in any way at the center of this right now. But this is such a grave injustice that there is absolutely no way, knowing what I know, that I could have slept at night without bringing this into the light. Because the truth is that for the educators who may be here today, or any of you who have ever had the pleasure and privilege of working with young people, this could have been you.
Yes, yes.
I spent almost 10 years working as a high school principal in New York City. And before this ever happened, I can tell you that there are specific incidents that keep me up at night based on decisions I had to make that were in the interest of keeping young people safe. And when you are ever put in a situation like that, you understand that that is a very challenging situation to be in. And no matter what your intentions are, you can find yourself in a situation where not only your career, but your very life is put in jeopardy. And yet, we show up to do the job day in and day out. So that is why I have chosen to speak up. That is why I know the risk that I am taking, but that we cannot continue to bury things in confidentiality and behind closed doors that continue to perpetuate the dysfunction that has resulted in this unbelievable injustice that we have to stop today.
My name is Khalil Jabran Muhammad, and I am a proud parent of 3 children who've gone through this district. My last is a senior. We've lived in this community for just about 13 years. My wife served, Stephanie Lawson Muhammad, for 2 terms on the school board. My family has made countless sacrifices to help improve this community and most especially its school system. So when I speak about being part of this community and bearing witness to this moment, I speak from that capacity and for myself. But I also speak as a Black man. And I use that identity in this moment because I am extremely outraged by the behavior of a friend of mine, James Davis, the chair of Black Parent Workshop. We have been friends. He ran with my wife in an election several years ago, but he is representing an organization at this time that is essentially weaponizing the criminal justice system. To bring this down to earth, that is what we're talking about in this moment.
Yes.
There is exculpatory evidence, both in the investigation that led to the reinstatement, as we heard from Courtney, and additional evidence. But there is a conspiracy afoot among several parties. So we have to be very clear that the race politics that are playing out in the media right now with this organization that in its most legitimate way does speak for the racial disparities problems that plague this school district and so many others in this country, but is attempting to use Frank Sanchez and anyone else that it can throw under the bus to solve a policy problem. And that is not acceptable. Our policy debates should be adjudicated within the context of the board and the context of elections. If you don't like the outcome of those elections, you don't get to jeopardize people's livelihood and their lives and their legacy. So, just to be clear, do not let James Davis speak for black people in this community. He certainly doesn't speak for me.
Hello all, thanks for coming out on this beautiful evening to stand in solidarity with us. My name is Rhea Beck and I'm a parent volunteer here in Soma. I want to quickly thank all of those who spoke this evening and all of you. And all of you who plan to raise your voices at the BOE meeting in a short while. I also want to recognize all of the wonderful educators who may not be here this evening, who are dismayed and scared, and yet they show up for our kids anyway.
Right.
I'd like to end how we started, by reiterating that we as organizers and we as a community can hold two truths at once. Our hearts are with the Sanchez family, and our hearts are also with the young woman at the center of this maelstrom. Standing with Frank does not and cannot mean that we stand against a vulnerable young woman. Frank is quite unexpectedly in the fight of his life. His ability to be present with his family, to keep the career he loves, and to maintain his physical liberty is at stake. He needs our help to ensure that he's able to mount a robust defense. That is his right. And I am here now to ask humbly for your help. His legal defense fund is set up. QR codes have been distributed among the crowd. Please take a moment and give what you can. Your donations aren't managed by anyone. They go directly to the family. Situations like this can feel so overwhelming and out of our control. But the truth is, there are things we can do to make a difference, even small, anonymous things. Let me give you 3 action items, things that will snowball when we do them together. Frank turns 50 tomorrow. Wouldn't it be a powerful sign of support if we could get to $50,000 on his birthday? Use the QR code to donate. Share it with your friends and your neighbors. The third thing is, don't let anyone make this about Frank versus a child. We can demonstrate care for both, each a victim in their own way. Join us in walking over to the BOE meeting to share your concern. Demand they do their part in ensuring a just outcome. They said it's a budget meeting, but I say we create an agenda of our own. Thank y'all for coming out. Good night.